African and Indian students stuck in Ukraine are accusing officials of discriminating against them and pushing them back from getting to the border. Videos have been posted on social media said to show black people being prevented from boarding a train and left stranded at a railway station in Lviv as Ukrainians were allowed on. Others said they were turned back from the border and were even being shot at.
Listening to Reset Race, you now tuned in to Reset Race. You're listening to Reset Race, you're now tuned in to Reset Race. What? Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Back on the grill again. We grilling them. You're listening to Reset Race. ADOS need reparations to make America great. You're tuned in to Reset Race. We no longer starving while others eat off our plate. No. You're listening to Reset Race. We focused on our justice claim. We know what is at stake. You're tuned in to Reset Race. You'll find out who really about justice and really who fake. On the edge, go back to US Southern plantations. Lineage, Jim Crow and mass incarceration. Redlining lynchings, we are old from this nation. You're not about justice if you ain't for reparations. MG the wise one, cousin mother intellectual. Samantha bringing fire, anti-black, we pressing you. No permanent friends and no permanent enemies. The backbone of the country, the win, you need our energy. You gon' see? Listening to Reset Race, you now tuned in to Reset Race. You're listening to Reset Race, you're now tuned in to Reset Race. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Back on the grill again. We grilling them. You're listening to Reset Race. ADOS need reparations to make America great. You're tuned in to Reset Race. We no longer starving while others eat off our plate. No. You're listening to Reset Race. We focused on our justice claim. We know what is at stake. You're tuned in to Reset Race. You'll find out who really about justice and really who fake.
Thanks for being here. As lawmakers get back to work, I'd like to ask you, with a war underway in Europe, what will be the congressional response? President Biden is asking for more than $6 billion in aid for Ukraine, as well as for refugees, many of whom are already crossing the border into countries like Poland. Will you take up that bill?
So, welcome to Reset Race. Yes, we forgot to do the intro first, but y'all don't mind, y'all don't care. Y'all know at least what we're going to be talking about. So today is going to be about the US and Ukrainian refugees and pretty much where we stand as American Negroes, as John likes to say. I still like being American Negroes. American Negroes that descend from chattel slavery. We enjoy this, and yes, it's redundant to say descend from American chattel slavery, but y'all be trying the fuck out of us. So feel the need to throw that in here.
We gotta say it.
I'm just saying. So I'm Samantha Angelique. We are here. We're back. We might even, who knows, if Mud's feeling like Superman, y'all might get 2 episodes next week so we can be timely. Plus, we got a bunch of stuff we need to get on anyways. So I'm excited to be back with the fam and pass it on to John.
Hey, what's up? What's going on, everybody? My name is John C. I am an average American Negro. I'm back with the Reset Race family. And we're gonna have a discussion about Ukraine and what that really means for American Negroes that descend from chattel slavery. As Sam said, they do be trying us, so we have to say descend from chattel slavery, because then it could be in our gym and do say these American Negro. That's okay, you black, but you're not one of us. I don't want to get into that. But we're gonna get into these some of the issues that we have with some of our politicians, but in regards to this Ukraine war, how it affects the descendants of chattel slavery here in America. So let's do it.
Yeah, they call me Mud. Bitterdos TV. If you want to get in contact with me, you can reach me at my social media. It's @oflineage on Twitter and Instagram. Do not and I mean do not contact me on.
Oh shit! You know I got
Oh
lost
yeah.
over. You know I got lost over there, man. I ain't know what's
Yo,
going on, but we here though.
No,
We here now
we're
though.
moving off of. Let's get to the
yes.
show.
And resetrace.org coming soon. So if you feel the need to actually, if you feel the need to send any, if you really want to bother and want to complain to info@resetrace.org. If I feel interested enough to give you a response, I will. But that's really where you can send your complaints to. But we don't really give a fuck. But it is what it is, right? If it's valid, if it's something interesting. But if you want to send stuff that actually would be interesting for us to know, articles, videos, info@resetrace.org. And then go ahead and say hi, Joey. Go ahead and give your spiel.
Cousin Joey in the Matrix right now, but he
Right?
in the Matrix.
He come in, give the man a minute.
All right. All right.
It's like, I'm driving. Oh, okay. Well, we'll get your intro later. Joey's driving. All hell, King Killmonger. Don't follow him around. Don't bother his ass, because he will tell you in a very church Southern way to go fuck yourself. Because they don't say go fuck yourself, but they say everything very sweet and cutthroat that makes you feel dressed down, just as if they told you to go fuck yourself. So here we are. And let's get back to it. John, do you remember what you wanted to say? If not, I'm just gonna run the video back.
Yeah, well, I'm doing the introduction. I'm gonna be the host for today's show. So we're talking about Jim Clyburn today, and his thoughts on the Ukraine policy. We're not a fan of Jim Clyburn here, and he's actually being primarily challenged by a candidate named Marcel Dixon. Globe interviewed him on critical justice. So I suggest you check that out on the network. But let's get into the video. Let's see what he's talking about. Let's see what Jim Clyburn talking about.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I think we will, and I think we'll give the president everything he's asking for. He is on top of this. He's demonstrated for the last several weeks that he's in his wheelhouse, and we're going to respond, I think, in a very positive way. The American people are absolutely concerned about what's going on. They know that this could very well lead to a third world war. Mm-hmm. And they see that the whole world is rising up against Putin, and that's as it should be. And we are concerned in this Congress about those among us who seem to have some sensitivity towards Mr. Putin. That is very concerning to the people I talk to here on the Hill. And we are concerned in this Congress about those among us who seem to have some sensitivity towards Mr. Putin. That is very concerning to the people I talk to here on the Hill.
Okay.
Y'all got anything on that one? Because I'm like, wait.
Nah,
I don't want to get hyper into the politics of it. Go ahead, John. What you got to say with this? Go ahead.
I ain't really got much. I mean, it's self-explanatory. Like he brought up Putin. He said that we're going to give the president everything he wants in regarding this situation. Now, I remember there's a situation where somebody came to one of his town halls not too long ago, maybe a year or two ago. Somebody came to one of his town halls and they were asking him specific things about, the descendants of chattel slavery in America, things that we need. And I remember him telling him something like the Build Back Better plan and tax credit, and not nothing specific. Not we're going to give you everything that you want. He just said, "Oh, this is something that Joe Biden is doing. This is how it can help you. Oh, this is how it does." He wasn't doing all this.
If you wait on cash payments to come out of reparations, you're going to wait forever. It's not going to happen. So what you got to do, let me talk. Don't put that in my face.
Why are you touching me?
Okay, all right. I'm going to leave you alone.
Cut the check. Tell Nancy Pelosi to cut the check.
Yeah.
Jim Clyburn is like a new, fatter version of like Steven from Django mixed with Stephen Fetchit. I said it. I hate this Negro. I really don't like it. But that's all I got. That's all. I won't go too far into it. What do you got?
Oh yeah, I definitely agree as far as like, he just said basically we'll give Biden a blank check after being quoted $6 billion. I don't know any other like government program where you hear politicians talking like this, like especially not no program directed at Americans. So it's very weird to hear this in regards to a conflict that really isn't any of our business ultimately. Like they're talking about like we're all concerned, and I don't give a fuck about Ukraine or Russia. I really don't.
Hold them.
So, like, how does this benefit me at all? That's the question I have in all of this. And if it doesn't benefit me, why are y'all even talking about it when you haven't talked about anything that benefits me yet in this goddamn administration? That's what I got.
What I got is what y'all got. How we got all these money to spend on non-Americans and on wars in foreign countries. And Jim Clyburn talking about we all are worried because we understand that this could lead to a third world war. So you want to arm the people who are fighting the people who got the nukes for the third world war. Okay, whatever. And I understand that this whole situation is completely nuanced. Everybody is a bad actor. Russia's a bad actor, NATO's a bad actor, and Ukraine is a bad actor. Because by Ukraine going into NATO, it pushed into Russia's space and Russia retaliated. I am anti-war. I'm against all people being in war and people being killed, but this shit is not my fight and this shit is not my issue. But my issue is y'all owe my people money and you keep telling me we ain't got no money for nothing. But every time there's a war, you got money. You know why? Because y'all just spin that shit into existence. So I need you to start spinning it to existence on my community. And yes, and as for all that other bullshit Clyburn was talking about, yeah, and it's very concerning for people who have sympathy with Putin. Having nuance is not having sympathy. I don't think anybody should be invaded. I don't think any baby should be killed, no matter what color they are. Period. But all the rest of that, there's nuance. And we're not going to just get out here and pretend like y'all aren't creating the conditions for a third world war. That's it. You back with us, Joey? Or should we keep going? Okay.
Well, I just wanted to say, 110%. Oh, there you go.
Go ahead, Joey.
All right. Well, I just wanted to say I agree with you, Sam, but I feel like this is crazy because they're literally ready to write a blank check for a proxy war. This is a fucking proxy war right here, like, you know. So like they're willing to write a blank check for a proxy war. Again, we don't support imperialism. We don't support, you know, like aggressive wars. Like, you know, we're anti-war here. We're not with none of that shit. But at the same time, you see American citizens starving. You see how we starving out here. And I'll fight for reparations. And as a Black representative of the CBC, you come on TV talking about let's write, like I'm down to do whatever the president, he gonna support whatever the president want to do. Whatever, how much money he want to give, you want to give him a tank, all types, he don't care. Then when Negroes come to him, nah, we can't do that for you. Because what about the other? What?
Before the South Carolina primary, you came out and decided it was time to endorse and embrace Joe Biden. Walk us through your decision-making process. Could you have imagined it would have the impact that it had?
No, I did not imagine that. But I do know that I was working hard to try to not only make an endorsement, but to do it in such a way that it would give him a surge, which is what he needed. He had just come out of 3 primaries, had lost all of them, did okay in Nevada, but it was really, his campaign was on life support. And I knew, or at least I felt I knew, that he was just the kind of guy that we needed to have our nomination. Because I think that Joe Biden could stand up to Donald Trump's insults better than anybody. He would heap insult upon anybody. But the question was, of all the candidates we had, which one of them was best to withstand these assaults? And I just thought that Joe Biden would do well with that. We had for the last 4 years retrogression taking place in this country. And what I thought we really needed was somebody that could bring this country together. I don't understand why people keep talking about how divided this country is. This country has always been divided. Since 1619, when blacks first came ashore here, and then we had 244 years of slavery, another 100 years of apartheid. It was not until the 1954 Supreme Court decision this country really came face to face with the things we needed to do to get beyond the racial divide in this country. And we've been doing a very good job of that for a long time. But then all of a sudden now, we got a president who decided that he wanted to take us back to that period in time that a lot of us would like to get behind us. And I just think and thought at that time and think to this day that Joe Biden has the right background, the right experience to help us continue this pursuit of a more perfect union.
How do you want Joe Biden to pay you back?
I'm sorry?
How do you want Joe Biden to pay you back?
Pay me back? Oh, I don't want anything out of this.
Like, look at the psychology behind this shit. This shit is really backward. Like, and it's also pushing the Putin that, because you already know they kept saying Putin, Putin, Putin. We talk about reparations. It's Putin. Talking about, I'm not voting for them unless they got something. Putin, 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 Putin. I'm saying that I'm not giving Putin a hug. I know that Putin a racist piece of shit too. But you try to use that narrative like to kind of subvert the other pieces of shit. Like Sam said, it is nuance in this conversation. And I think that Jim Clyburn is he's just an empty shell of a human being, man. He's worth nothing to nobody. He's not worth nothing to my community. And that's really all I got on that. This shit is crazy.
All righty, then let's roll back to the video.
Is it too late for Congress to consider sanctions legislation? Congressman, is there anything left that you could do that the Treasury has not?
Well, I doubt that we are going to get out in front of Treasury or in front of the administration. I think that what we need to do is to reinforce the requests coming from the president, who I think is working in concert with Treasury as they interact with countries around the world. Mm-hmm. We ought not get out in front of that. Let this president have the room he needs to keep our allies in with us and to respond to what's going on with the European Union and other entities around the world.
Well, as a companion to that, Congressman, there's obviously a lot of different ways to get to this, and I wonder what your thoughts are on a use of force authorization. This has been talked about over the past week. Speaker Pelosi indicated that this might be in the works. I know a bipartisan group of members has sent a letter to leadership on this, suggesting that it would be codified in legislation that the U.S. will not commit ground troops to Ukraine. Does that need to happen?
I don't know that it needs to happen. Once again, the president has made it very clear that that's not in his agenda.
Yeah.
And so I think that those of us sitting here in the Congress will do well to maintain the relationship with the president. Mm-hmm. He, the Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, they're on the front lines with this. And let's stay unified as a country and not get out in front of the administration on this.
Congressman Clyburn, it was 2 years ago last Friday, and I'm sure you don't need me to tell you that then candidate Joe Biden announced his intention in the South Carolina debate to nominate a black woman for the first time to the Supreme Court. That has happened, of course, and I know he did not pick your preferred.
That's enough of that. We can bounce around with our other shit. 'Cause yeah, no, that's a whole nother can of worms. But like I said, you see how it's like, oh, wartime, it's time to get behind everything. Let's write a plate check, let's do everything. But anytime it's time for our community to get something, for Americans to get something, nothing. Absolutely nothing. So, all right, let me pull up this article. Y'all got anything for that other piece? I'm pulling up the Bloomberg article that you sent, John.
I think that's basically what he said in the Bloomberg article. But I think if
Okay.
you really listen to what he said, though, he literally was like, we're trying to keep our relationship with the president and the secretary. His main priority is him keeping his relationship in the power. It's not about taking care of no Negroes. It's not about taking care of even the poor. Ain't really about that. It's about him keeping his proximity to power. Like, if he got to write a blank check to sign up on a blank check to go give Ukraine a whole bunch of bombs or whatever the fuck he want to do, he's gonna do anything. He's going to do anything. Like, this shit is disgusting, man. Like, he gotta go. You gotta vote him out. You gotta do something, man. Like, this is ridiculous, man. Like, that's all I got. Man. Just watch the word. Just listen to these people. You really listen to them. You see what their real intention is. Like, shit is not a puzzle to figure out. Like, just listen to them and really sit back and be like, oh, he just said we got to keep our relationship with the president and what? And then he started getting into because I didn't say don't put ground troops down there. So he's basically saying that if it's time to put some ground troops down there and Joe Biden with it, he's voting for that shit. He has no principles. He didn't say I'm not with it. He ain't bring no stuff. I mean, I'm just talking about the feeling getting it for him. But even if he was like, it's time to put ground troops down there, he's voting for that shit. Joe Biden might be doing this. This is what we're going to do. Nancy Pelosi tell him, you're voting for this, Jim. Yeah, I'm voting for. All right, we got to put Negroes and we got to put the poor people in. The Negroes are definitely going to be at the front line. Like, you're in it. I don't give a fuck y'all.
So do we want to go through the Hill article where they list everything that we're sending to Ukraine? Somebody else got to read it though.
Here's everything the U.S. is sending to Ukraine's military. President Biden on Wednesday announced $800 million in new lethal aid for Ukraine, bolstering U.S. support to the ex-Soviet nation as it ends the third week fighting Russian forces. The latest tranche, part of the nearly $14 billion Congress appropriated for Ukrainian aid which Biden signed into law a day prior, brings the U.S. government's total pledge of military assistance for the embattled nation to $1 billion in the past week and $2 billion since Biden took office. The package includes anti-tank weapons, unmanned drones, small arms and ammunition among other crucial defense equipment. The White House also said the U.S. is helping the Ukrainians acquire additional, longer-range systems on which Ukraine's forces are already trained, as well as additional munitions for those systems, though it did not detail what those may be. The administration was likely referring to the S-300 surface-to-air missile system, a Soviet-era defense system possessed by NATO ally Slovakia that could help against Russian airstrikes in Ukraine. Greece and Bulgaria also owned the system. But Ukrainian officials have not gotten everything they want to beat back the Russian incursion. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Wednesday made an impassioned plea to Congress and the nation, asking for a NATO-imposed no-fly zone over Ukraine, or at the very least, fighter jets, specifically MiG-29 aircraft that Poland has said it could transfer over to the country with the U.S. military's help. Administration officials have so far shot down both asks, fearing it may prompt Russia to escalate the war. Biden has also repeatedly and staunchly said the United States will not put troops on the ground in Ukraine, which is not a NATO member. Here's what the U.S. is doing instead to bolster the Ukrainian military. The $800 million military assistance package. 800 Stinger anti-aircraft systems, a lightweight, reusable launch system used to destroy helicopters or low-flying planes. 2,000 Javelin anti-armor systems, a shoulder-mounted, anti-tank weapon system that can target any vehicle that emits heat and can be operated by one person. Like the Stinger, its launcher is reusable. 1,000 light anti-armor weapons, man-held, vehicle armor-penetrating guns. 6004 anti-armor systems, a Swedish-made man-held single-shot anti-armor weapon used by American Special Operations Forces. 100 tactical unmanned aerial systems drones known as the Switchblade 300, a system equipped with cameras, guidance systems, and explosives. 7,000 small arms including grenade launchers, rifles, pistols, machine guns, and shotguns. Over 20 million rounds of small arms ammunition, artillery and mortar. 25,000 sets of body armor and 25,000 helmets. The previous $1.2 billion. 1. More than 600 Stingers. 2. About 2,600 Javelins. 3. 5 Mi-17 helicopters, Soviet-designed Russian military helicopters that Ukrainian pilots are trained on. 4. 3 patrol boats. 5. 4 counter-artillery and counter-unmanned aerial system tracking radars. 6. 4 counter-mortar radar systems. 7. 600 small arms including grenade launchers, machine guns and shotguns. 8. Nearly 40 million rounds of small arms ammunition and more than 1 million grenade, mortar, and artillery rounds. 9. 70 high-mobility multi-purpose wheeled vehicles and other vehicles. 10. Secure communications, electronic warfare detection systems, body armor, helmets, and other tactical gear. 11. Military medical equipment for treatment and combat evacuation. 12. Explosive ordnance disposal and demining equipment. 13. Satellite imagery and analysis equipment. The Omnibus Spending Bill. Sponsored content. How fusion.
All right. So I'm disgusted. I'm just disgusted. I'm disgusted at how there's always money for everything except fucking fixing this fucking country and fixing us. Like, I'm over it. I'm super over it. And I get it, but other people, it's time for it's time for the rest of the world to start dealing with their own shit. We cannot be the police of the rest of the world. Like, our fucking country isn't right now. Like, and this rolls into one of those things, like, to be perfectly honest, it doesn't matter how I feel about this Ukraine-Russia shit, because I'm against Black men being mowed down in the street by police, vigilantes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, what have I been able to do about that in this country? So what does my thoughts, feelings, or input have to do with that shit? I got to focus my energy on what's going here. It's hard enough for me to change shit here. Sorry, I don't have a lot of empathy. I think empathy is for young people. Anybody else?
Yeah. It's very, very interesting to me that they can always find billions for motherfuckers outside of the country, but for those of us who have been here since the founding of the country, it's a struggle to get anything out of this goddamn government. I mean, I'm thinking of like that farmers bill, like it was just $5 billion when the American government has acknowledged at least $100 billion in damages in the last 100 years. Then it gets challenged in court. So it's such a fight to get crumbs, and then it's crumbs we have to share. And then when we're talking about people outside of the country, it's just not even discussed really. It's not even a fight. It's just like, everybody's with it. They're sending all these resources over there, but for some reason, we still got to hear about the water in Flint. Why haven't they wielded the power of the most powerful nation in the world to go and fix that situation, since we could just out of nowhere send billions somewhere? Why couldn't we send billions to Flint?
Because Congress doesn't have a bunch of stocks in the Flint's water and energy, but they got a bunch of stocks in those wars and in all those Raytheons and all that other shit.
Yeah, but I mean, look, I think we're hopefully getting to a point where, like, even though there's a bunch of political factions, everybody's dissatisfied with the reality that our government isn't doing shit for any of us. So at this point, like, let's put all the bullshit aside and let's get what the fuck is owed to us as American citizens. And if we're going to be like completely honest about that conversation, then yes, we have to talk about reparations for the descendants of American chattel slavery, because it is a debt that's owed. This, like, if we're going to talk about what is owed to American citizens, you got to talk about the founding citizens, the people that were here from the very beginning and were locked out from all the goodies that have been passed around.
Good evening, everyone. It is I, the great and powerful King Killmonger, here to express my deepest disgust with this situation.
Okay.
From top to bottom, everyone involved. I will never forget this. I will never forgive this. This whole Ukraine thing, who do I even start with? My fellow Americans, the light bright ones, the ones that tend to get upset when people try to do things for Black people, the ones that threaten civil war if so much as a dollar goes into the pocket of a Black person. How come y'all not angry about this? How come y'all aren't storming the Capitol behind this one? I didn't vote to spend billions in Ukraine. Did any of y'all? What happened to the hardworking taxpayer? The one that liked to shoot shit up when Black people get some money. I thought y'all was tough. What happened? I thought y'all was thugs. Jimmy. James Clyburn. You are a slave. You sound like a slave. You look like a slave. You look like an old toad in the face. I hate you. That's all I really got to say about you. You are the epitome of a sellout. You are worse than Candace Owens. And you will rot in hell when you die. Russia, we already knew what time it was with Russia. Russia ain't changed. Russia is going to use every opportunity they can to improve Russia. If they have to step on some Black folks in the process, they don't mind. Ukraine, I've been watching this footage about how y'all are so sad about how this never happens to blonde-haired, blue-eyed white children. As y'all are telling those brown-eyed, dark-haired Black people that they got a shelter in place to make space for your people to escape. I got a problem with everybody involved. And this footage is gonna live on forever. We got money, we don't got money for the American citizens, for the people that generated the economy, but we got money for everybody else. This will live on in the minds of Black people, my children, my children's children, forever. We're never letting this go. Y'all got pandemic money. Nobody saw that one coming, right? Now y'all got Ukraine money, but y'all ain't got Flint money. Y'all ain't got Detroit money. I'm sick of all of y'all.
Shit. I mean, I think that, like, just the way that, just the amount of the amount of money that's being spent and the kind of stuff that they're buying with the money is just so fucking, it is disrespectful, especially to us people who descend from American chattel slavery. Like, we just spent trillions of dollars on stimulus package in like 2 or 3 years. Like, we spent like $5 trillion. You know what I mean? People could really tally the money up. It might be 10 trillion due to how we treated banks and corporations, but just on paper, just the money that just Biden and Trump spent in the past 2 years during the COVID pandemic, it's at least between like $3 to $5 trillion easy. And then it's like, when that happened, then, you know, because you feel me, like it's some type of it's inflation going on with the gas prices. I feel like the oil companies are responsible for this shit, taking advantage of the war. It's another story. But throughout all this shit, America still got the money to give Ukraine like billion, 6 billion, 13 billion. I'm like, you're gonna pass $1 trillion right now. And then nobody cry. Like, only people that see this shit is just Negroes. You're like, what the fuck? None of the right wing is crying. The liberals is like, oh, the people that was all talking about inflation. I'm a white person that does economics and inflation. No, all these motherfuckers quiet in the motherfucker.
Damn.
Like, my bad. Go ahead, Joey.
Don't tell me about who didn't own slaves, because I didn't invade Ukraine. My ass has been in Ohio and Michigan.
You ain't lying. You ain't lying. Like, what the fuck? Like, what? Like, why do, like, what the fuck? Like, I'm trying to tell you, to me, is a similarity between the kind of, when the Great Society programs is happening in Vietnam. Because, like, you know, like, I can't, like, it's a certain similarity. You're passing all these other programs, but then you're still funding this war. And it kind of made it seem like, you know, so I feel like I can't put it together right now, but I feel like there's a similarity in that, where it's like, this is fucked up. Why the fuck is you sending money to these motherfuckers? Like,
Charlie Edwards' generation may wonder at the ways of Washington, but it's too old to make any demands. But when Mr. Edwards looks at Doddsville through the eyes of his son returning from Vietnam, it's a different point of view.
I think he ought to have some of what he needs. I think he ought to have a good home to live in. I think he ought to have bathrooms in his house. I think he ought to have everything that a full man could have, especially when he went up against what's going on in Vietnam. So I think so myself if I had to go to Vietnam. I think if I went and took all the punishment and everything happened to me while I was in Vietnam, and then come back home and couldn't have a decent bed to lay down in and not a decent job, I don't think I'd feel like ever going back no more. If it was for my country, I wouldn't feel like this for my country. Not especially for my part of it, for me. I feel like it's for the other fellas did to me.
When I think about that and how hungry people are in the South, then it makes me a little sick to say, how can they spend all that much money in another country and really not doing nothing at home? See, I think charity began at home and then spread abroad.
Mississippi is a small state and a poor one. Federal funds and federal programs can help to change that. The food stamp plan was announced as a program to feed the hungry, but the people it has failed are those who have no money. Every evening as the federal workday ends, the men and women who read the reports from Doddsville head home for their dinner. The question of how to feed the hungry must still go with them.
I'm sorry, with all due respect, we don't want no war, we don't want none of that. But them Ukrainians got to hold their own nuts, man. I'm sorry, I said it, they got to hold their own nuts, man, because ain't nobody come, my granddaddy did it, so everybody in my family had to do it. Because when shit was going on in my community, it wasn't no money dumped into our community when all the shit that we was facing, all the terrorism. So the crazy part is that let's structure the Black Flight as a war. So then maybe you can keep pumping out. Because if this war goes on for 30 years, it's probably what they're going to keep pumping out. And they'll keep pumping out and they'll start pumping out more too. 10 billion, 20 billion. Next thing you know, it's 300 billion. Next thing you know, get up to $1 trillion. And they'll consistently keep pumping that up to fight a fucking proxy war to keep America's image a certain way while we over here starving. Like, all right. And the crazy part is like, they only found this money when it's time to go fucking do this type of war, this bullshit type war shit. Like it's been a war against our people since we got here. Like,
I got a question for President Obama. Is this fair to recent immigrants who had nothing to do with this? Why should they have to pay?
That's what he told us about reparations, right?
Yep.
How is this fair?
Hey, I think also we need to acknowledge that, even as the country is running all these deficits and all this debt, it's finding money to pay for all these other things that have nothing to do with American citizens. Can we finally acknowledge that MMT is a real thing and that America has the ability to do more for us.
Mm-hmm. Facts.
They got just control for inflation. Just control for inflation. We can spend whatever the fuck we want if we control for inflation. Like, it's that simple. Not tied to the gold standard anymore. That's as much as I know about NMT. I know way more, but I know that this is real. I seen it in real life. Like, when I seen them stimulus packages come out, while we fight for reparations, them trillions of dollars come out, like, it's essentially like base reparations claim, essentially like at least a quarter or 30% of our base reparations claim that we want to get paid over generations go out in 2 years. I knew it was bullshit. I know it was bullshit. Like, yeah, why should we pay for this shit for? Shit don't make no fucking sense, man. It makes perfect sense, but it makes no sense. My bad, bro.
Oh no, I was just amening you. 2 years, 24 months, 104 weeks. That's how long it took them to pay half our reparations.
Mm-hmm. Well, half our starter kit, because I want my 6 quadrillion. So
you need that quadrillion.
At this point, now that I've seen how easy it is for them to pump out all this money, now I'll take my whole check. I want it at 6%. And being that my mom just died at a very young age, short out of nowhere, fuck your 80 years. I want my shit paid out, and I'll give you 20 years.
That's fair. That's
and
that's fair.
While we on the subject of reparations, Ukraine, y'all is tapped into our resources a whole lot, but I don't see too many opportunities for Black Americans. That's an issue for me.
I'm telling you,
because y'all come with y'all hands out when big bad Russia come knocking on your door. Well, when Derek Chauvin was kneeling on somebody's neck, I didn't see the Ukraine just opening up their doors. I didn't see y'all have safe refuge here from the people that are terrorizing you. But y'all will come to my country with your hands out. That's an issue.
That's facts. That's the thing that gets me the fucking worst. Like, that's the fucking hypocrisy and the lack of empathy that people have for us in America as Black Americans that descend from slavery. Because we live in the richest country in the world, but yet we are the poorest people in the country. We've been like that because we come from fucking slavery. They never did anything to repair us. So it's a lack of empathy for us, and it's anti-Blackness tied into the shit. And then it's the slavery thing that's tied into the shit. So everybody be shitting on us. Like, and now you want me to kind of welcome people that's going through, you know what I mean? I'm not saying they're not going through nothing, but you want me to welcome them and support them coming here? Quite honestly, we know that Ukrainians have a section of neo-Nazis. This is not fucking propaganda. Like is it? My bad. Go ahead, bro.
Oh, if I could just, I'm looking at the screen right now, and I've been hearing these stories about people jumping into these Airbnbs in the Ukraine, like just ordering for a week or whatever, but not actually going over there just to support the people. It'd be really nice if y'all did that in Detroit.
Hey Joe, did the Ukrainians ever call you and say, like, hey, what's going on in Detroit? This shit is fucked up on white flight. Like, how can we support you guys? This is fucked up.
Not a single time. But apparently they know how to get support. They just don't know how to give it.
I want to hear about the Ukrainian officials that have shown support for reparations. If I don't hear nothing about that, I don't support a goddamn penny going out there.
Me either. It's like, you see us getting terrorized in America. Y'all motherfuckers wasn't even thinking about us, man. Then it got real, and now this proxy war is yo, man, because now you're like, yo, you don't like the Russians, right? They coming at us. Oh, we gotta have a NATO ally. And then that was a big hoopla. We've been getting our heads beaten, killed, money stolen from, people stealing our lands, getting hung, police killing us in real time today in real life, our wealth being extracted from us in real time in real life. Like, all these things were happening. I ain't see one Ukrainian official. I ain't see the Ukrainian president, nobody from the Ukrainian, even the left-wing part of the Ukrainian, they doing Black people wrong over there. We gotta, never. But now, because it's getting real for you, now you want me to, give him a hug. No, I'm not giving you no damn hug.
John, how about this?
Dog.
I ain't seen a Ukrainian in the United States say boo about it, let alone one from somewhere else. How about just 10 in the US give a fuck about Black Americans? But since you don't, and this is why we keep the same energy. And I know people like to use the X word when you start talking about these kind of things. But at the end of the day, why should I support people who don't support me? So until people start coming over here and teaming up with the losers, with the losing team, which is Black Americans, we the ones getting our asses kicked by this country, but we the only fighters. Everybody else comes here and teams up with Team White Supremacy. The rest of us fight. And you want us to support white immigrants coming here when we already have the people of color immigrants who come here and who are anti-Black. Mud's reading a whole book about it. So we be going through this, but then when we call them anti-Black, we get called, you know, the X word. But how is it they're not? So they get to come to our country, tell us that we're lazy and that we deserve to get murdered by the police. And they get to say all these kind of crazy, ratchet, off the wall things to us, call us out our name, look down on us. But we're supposed to welcome them and continue to welcome them to keep coming to our country. What kind of sense does that make? If you fix me dinner in your house and I walk in the house and slap you, your husband, your wife, your mama, your baby, are you going to keep welcoming me in your home? Or am I going to be banned because I'm disrespectful? If you want respect, you got to give respect. Y'all ain't coming in the house and sitting down at the table and being part of the family and sharing what we got. Y'all are coming in, slapping slapping people's mamas, their husbands, their babies, and pushing them off the table and telling them to go sit at the kids' table with the mini seats and some chips while they sit and eat at the big table. Fuck out of here.
See, that's my big problem. Like, where we've been going through everything y'all claim y'all going through right now, and I'm not saying y'all ain't going through some hardships. Obviously, you are. However, we've been getting bombed since we got here, and the people y'all reaching out to for help, they the ones who are doing it.
We've been bombed in our lifetime. In everybody's lifetime on this panel, I think even John falls under the move bombing. So everybody on this panel has been alive when state-sanctioned bombing has happened to a Black community.
See, that was the shit that got me mad. My bad. That was the shit that got me fucking mad today on the Twitter. Like, it got me mad. Like, oh, you're not getting bombed with nuclear. I'm like, yo, listen, like, it was a police helicopter dropping. They were trying to find one group of people. They dropped bombs on a whole community of people. Ain't no Ukrainians come out and say, oh, that's fucked up. Come over here. We got you. We give you resources. That shit never happened. Like this revisionist history is crazy to me. And I just want to say one thing, and I'm done. That's all I got to say, man. Listen, we know for a fact that there is a splinter of the Ukraine it's a white country. You got blonde hair, blue eyes. We know that the neo-Nazis over there is a real thing. It's not no propaganda from Putin is exploiting the fact that they got neo-Nazis for his agenda. That's the thing. He's exploiting the fact they got neo-Nazis to be like, see that they terrible. No, fuck you too, Russia. That niggas racist too. But at the end of the day, there's neo-Nazis over there and we're arming these people right now. You know, we like to arm people like that. That's extremist sometimes. But they are enemies. We arm the Taliban. So we got 9/11. So that's cool with us. But as somebody who descends from a grandfather who fought in World War II, who had to come home, and he's seen the bombing of the white people and all that other shit, had to come home with his medals on, while a fucking Nazi, these are literal 1945 Nazis in the South. Literal Nazis, like real hardcore German Wehrmacht, some of them SS people, Nazis, man. They was in the South sitting in the front of the bus with their prison uniforms on, and my granddaddy with his medals on had to sit in the back of the goddamn bus.
it's time for some changes around here because Negroes are no longer going to be the moral compass of this country. We're going to start joining in with everybody else and fighting for resources and throwing people to the wolves. And, people are like, it's terrible. We should all fight together for a better future. I've spent the past 2 years trying to fight for a better future with you people. You people aren't interested in doing shit for my people. Very few are. Very few are. So right now, I fuck with individuals. And if you can get your individual self to get an institution together to actually fight with Negroes, I can fuck with you as a group. But outside of the Jewish community and the Japanese who were interned, those are the two groups that are standing with Negroes for reparations. Everybody else can go fuck themselves. No disrespect, but where y'all groups at? Where your work?
Facts. And
we can
this
show
is my
you black
biggest
work
problem.
Go ahead.
This is my biggest problem because I don't want people to look at the Ukrainians as like refugees. No, look at them as an entire country. This entire country is under attack. And this entire country got resources that they ain't offered to not an American. They ain't offered them to the Black Americans. They ain't offered them to the Appalachian whites. I'm not afraid of any of you. I don't hate any of you. I don't know any of you well enough to hate you. I couldn't point out Ukraine on the map right now. It's really not about hate. It's about what resources you're bringing into the country versus what resources you're taking out of the country. And if you're taking any out, then you owe Black Americans.
And to be honest, if y'all don't like how we feel about this, I 100% don't give a fuck. Because like I said, everybody in this group has said, none of these other groups, people are like, well, when Black Lives Matter, people from around the world march for Black Lives Matter. What policy was Black Lives Matter? What sanctions did other governments place on in the US to get them to stop fucking killing Black men in the street? Fuck you.
Did you get your
Don't talk to me about nothing.
Did you get your portion of the $8 billion that Ukraine sent?
Nope.
Because I didn't.
Not a dollar.
Hey, Joey, did Ukraine, when Black Lives Matter happened, Ukraine invite you over and say, we got refuge for you, Joe. We got school. We can put you in housing. We're going to give you, your health care going to be good for a certain amount of time. Don't worry about it. Get away from them people that's oppressing you in America. Get away from them. Come to Ukraine and come hang out with us. We're not like that in America.
And we'll take the hit too. Even if we got to pay extra on our gas, we don't mind. We just want to make sure you safe.
For real, that's the crazy part. And they still ain't say they ain't say that to us. They never said that to us. Nobody has never said that to us. Even up nobody has never said that. If it was a war going on, it's like we're going to war against Black Americans. Yo, even on the politicals, they'll still be like, nah, I mean, I'm not with it. They're not going to be like, yo, come here. Nobody has never told us to come here. We've been getting a war been on us for years. Nobody ain't never tell us to come where they at. It's not America. Come where we are. I should have stayed. Come over here. Never. My grandmother would have told me that was the truth. That's when it was really hot. And at the same time, we still got to deal with this legacy of slavery that's still going on. Nobody give a fuck. You know what I mean? Nobody don't care. And you want me to, that's the thing. I've been empathetic for so long that my empathy has ran out. I see people, my people homeless. My empathy has ran out.
I'm worried about my people the same way you worried about yours. I'm worried about the future of my people the same way you was worried about the future of your people when y'all decided it was a good idea. It was a good time to try Putin, knowing how he felt about y'all joining NATO. People keep trying to call this a proxy war. Nah. Y'all knew what the fuck y'all was doing. This has been going on since 2014. And y'all knew Putin wasn't bullshit. Y'all tried it. And these are the consequences.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that why do we have to pay for, this is something that wasn't resolved for the breakup of the Soviet Union. This is they got Crimea, and America was like, they got Crimea, whatever, the sanctions on them. But I understood oh shit, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know Putin was gonna go this hardcore with it. But I still was like, he might come for the rest. I don't know. But he said, yo, I'm coming for the rest now. Like, you find pressure to me. Like, I understand the global and the geopolitical politics of it, but none of this shit is benefiting my people. Why do I care? Like, why is it on why do you have black motherfucking influencers on TV telling me I should care when I see homeless black people down the street when I drive to work every day? Nobody give a fuck about these people.
Facts.
Nobody care. Nobody cares. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so at the end of the day, nobody don't give a fuck about us. Like, so that's my whole thing. It's like, yo, bring the same energy. Like, all right, well, do what you want to do. I'm not gonna get in the way of it. I'm not gonna be on the Senate floor saying no, stop. I'm not gonna say nothing. They're mad about us not saying nothing. Like we ain't gonna say nothing. Like, whatever, let it play out. They'll help us. Nah, not really my issue. My people starving in America, so whatever.
Yeah, and for those of y'all like, well, what about solidarity? Where the fuck is solidarity when it comes to y'all standing with black people? We don't ever get the solidarity. And I'm not talking about individuals, because we got a lot of really good individuals that rock with us that are outside of American Negroes. But I'm talking about institutions. Where are y'all institutions? And when we see you guys trying to create new institutions, we see early on that they're anti-black racist, and we try to tell you guys, and you ignore us all the way until those people do some shit you don't like, and then all of a sudden they're bad people. But we told you they weren't shit when it started.
White People's Party. My bad, shit. Go ahead.
You already know. I'm just saying, like, this is the stuff that we be talking about. Like, no, I don't want to sound like a Debbie Downer, but expect me to be one probably for the rest of the year. But, I'm all for, coalitions and this, that, and the other, but I need to see more of it happening from other sides. Right now, I just see a bunch of distraction, like people just blow with the wind. Like, nobody's even talking about American issues right now. Maybe, I don't know. Have you been, maybe I'm off on Twitter, but I don't see them talking about a lot of the shit that's going on with us, and that's the shit that I care about. Sorry, I care more about this $6 and some change gas that I'm paying for than I do about Ukrainian refugees. I'm sorry. You know why? Because what does some rural white person give a fuck about what's happening to black people getting killed in the street? They don't. So until other people start caring about my plight, until Ukrainians start fighting, until all immigrants start coming to this country and standing and fighting with American Negroes, like John said, everybody gonna have to hold their own nuts.
And it's not just the immigrants. I need to see the support from your country. Because, like, you're not like us where our entire population exists in America. No. You came from somewhere. How do they feel about Black Americans where you came from? And that's going to determine how we feel about you where you came to. And it don't matter what you look like. You could be my identical twin and it would not matter. Does your people support mine? And if they don't, then I don't need you here. Like, and we're done with the back of the bus politics. No more setting aside Negro issues to maintain white solidarity. That goes for all the white people in Joy Reid, because apparently she thinks that that's what we should be doing. That we should ignore all the horrible things that are happening to Black people in all these situations because it might fracture the unity.
But that's because she's not part of us anyways. Joy Reid is not a Black American. Joy Reid is not an American Negro descendant of chattel slavery. So she wants us to team up because that's how she becomes part of.
But these was her people. These was the Africans over there trapped in the Ukraine. And those are the ones she was just telling them, nah, don't speak up. No, don't release videos. Don't do. You remember the African man got trapped in the police station and they forced him out to go deal with the Nazis?
What you want to do? She coon here. You expected her not to tell? What did you expect?
I'm just saying, like, she not only is she no good for us, she ain't even no good for them. Like,
and she's not African either. Isn't she like Central? That's like Central American, right? She's from Guyana or some shit like that.
Joy Reid is like from Cameroon. Yeah, Congo.
Oh, my bad. Why did I think she was? I don't think she was here. My bad. Oh, well, fuck it.
But she ain't holding y'all down, people. Like, she out here telling y'all need to shut up, stand back, all of that, so the white people can have their unity. Now, personally, I say fuck that noise. Like, if your unity requires the sacrifice of black people, you don't deserve it. That's just how I feel. But apparently, if you get a job on MSNBC, you can't say those types of things. But I don't think they'd hire somebody by the name of Omar anyway.
That's how you get that job. There's a reason why Joy Reid is the only black-skinned person that survived that purge. All right, y'all, what we got for final thoughts on this one? Because I guess, well, we can bring up, I guess this all just falls in Hampton University, free tuition and board for the summer. And then after that, they can pay regular tuition. That just falls into that whole thing with the Airbnbs and everything else. I don't feel like we need to get super deep into it. I just wanted to throw that piece out there. So is there anything else we want to talk about on this one, or are we ready for final thoughts?
Shit, I'm ready for final thoughts, unless someone got something else they want to drop.
I don't have nothing else. This is the thing. I don't have an issue with immigrants. I don't have an issue with refugees. I have an issue with anti-Black racism and the fact that a lot of y'all just happen to be anti-Black racist. My people are struggling. My people are hurting. We are hungry. We are homeless. We need help and resources. And you are giving resources to people who are not us. And we want our damn resources the same way every other fucking group fights for their resources. And you will not shame us for fighting for resources like everybody else is doing. And until I start seeing your institutions talking about Black people as well, I don't want to hear nothing. Because the only people I hear talk about Black and brown is Black institutions. I don't hear any other institution talking about people of color unless they trying to piggyback off some civil rights shit. So, and this goes for everybody. And this goes for the whites too. And immigrant does not mean brown, because we have just talked about these Ukrainians. There's John, didn't you already find like 500,000 of them here already? Or at least 500,000 Eastern European immigrants, right? So when I talk about immigrants, I'm not talking about people of color. I'm talking about everybody. I'm talking about white, brown, whatever you want to call them, eggshell color, whatever the fuck you want to call. Go ahead.
I mean, I guess I think this is from a Pew Research article. If not, I give you the article. You can post it. I think it's from like an immigration policy article, but it was basically a study of like who are the undocumented immigrants in America, and I was surprised that there were more white undocumented immigrants than they were African and Caribbean immigrants. Like, I think African and the Caribbean immigrants were like 200,000, 100,000, but they were like 440,000, close to 500,000 white undocumented immigrants. Like, so I feel like that's a different wrench you could throw into the immigration conversation. Like, who the fuck, white what? Like, you know what I mean? Like, nobody never bring that up for some reason. Like, we feel like we have an issue with people that we know that people migrate here for better opportunities. So we already know they're not migrating here to help us, or they're not, you know, they're not, like, it's a different, like, I understand you come here to get money and have a better life. And to have a better life, you have to shit on us in some way, one form or the other. Like, you know what I mean? Or you have to distance yourself from us, or you have to be like, well, you know, I'm black, but you know what I mean? That's for the black ones, but for the white ones, they just white people. Like, this is America. Like, we like, that's the reason why we conflate race like that, because it's like it was just white people, it was black people and Native Americans here. Like, it wasn't a lot of people here until like 1901, until like the big immigration rush. It was immigrants slowly pouring in, or I mean, you can call the initial white people that came here, they were immigrants too. But like when the country was set up, like the early 1800s, I mean late 1800s to like
they were settlers. They were settler colonial colonizers. They weren't immigrants either.
They were definitely colonizers. Like, based off my self-preservation for my people and what the fuck we going through and what historically has happened to us, I'm not with 500,000 blonde-haired, blue-eyed people coming here. I'm not. These are neo-Nazis. Like they say in America, like you got from the neo-Nazis.
Yeah, I watched like a Vice video about that shit.
We have to fund the neo-Nazis to beat Putin, and what? And we see how the Ukrainian people are treating black people, who are majority Africans, black people in their country right now in the time of war and shit. They're not saying let's all come together. They're like, yo, nah, bro. No, you didn't get on the train. I'm pregnant. I don't care. If I'm like, and then this person get on the train and comes to America, I have to deal with this lady. What? When I got to deal with Jeff Crow and all of them that been racist to me for 300 years, I got to deal with you now? Oh, hell no.
Nobody's out here fighting for us. So from here on out, we're sitting shit out. I guess that's really what this is about. And after this, I'm not going to talk about Ukraine no more because this is not some shit that deals with my day-to-day life. So unless something comes up where either we go to World War III or they give you, or they like start giving Ukrainians fucking business loans and shit, we'll come back and talk about it. But outside of that, I'm done talking about this shit because this is not where Black energy, American Negro energy needs to be focused. We need to be focused on getting our resources and getting the shit we need for our people and our families. So if you want us to care about some other shit, then you better get some shit for us.
I'll just end it by saying the Black American community is too big to fail. That is something every community who plans on coming to America needs to know. This needs to be your energy. You just need to accept the fact that America needs to support the Black American community. However that needs to happen. I have yet to see a community collectively make these types of claims or demands, but they don't have any problem making claims and demands for their own people. That is an issue for me. So you don't get any support. And for all the Ukrainians who are fleeing the war, who do happen to come over here, you don't deserve a dime. You should get the same bootstraps that my ancestors got, that I got, that Dr. King got, the same bootstrap. Nothing. Come over here, live homeless like Black veterans do. No resources, no DHS, no food stamps, no temporary housing, nothing. Because America is the place where you can just work hard and everything gonna turn out okay. I want to see proof of concept. Let them live over here for 10 years with no additional resources and prove to me that America is this meritocracy that everybody keeps saying it is. But I don't think y'all want to do that. That's where I'll end it. Have a lovely evening.
My problem is with the disruptors, the people who come to this country and think it is in their interest to interfere with Black American politics or to even have an opinion on our situation if it's not going to be something of support. Now, my main problem is with our own politicians and I guess so-called leaders. I am tired of seeing money go to all these other things. But when it comes to my people, the first thing you say is that you don't have any fucking money. I'm not accepting that anymore. I'm not even going to acknowledge that is like even a real like excuse or answer. We're done with that. If anybody is getting money, I want my peace. This is like we are on some Nino Brown shit. So anything that goes on in America, anytime Congress is talking about spending money, I need to have a section portioned out for my people. I don't give a fuck what it's about. If you want to study fucking whales, there better be a portion for my people. I need to know what is going on with the Black American Well Fund.
Nah, you go ahead, cuz. Nah.
So yeah, that's where I'm at with it. Like everything. Cause this shit is ridiculous. It's to a point now where it's beyond disrespect. Like there was a time where you motherfuckers tried to be sneaky about the shit, but now it's just all out in our faces. And the internet is not helping you. So y'all better switch the game plan and start being real with us and start breaking off some of this bread. And I'm going to leave it there.
I like that. That sounds like a good end to me. Unless anybody got anything else, I think that's it. That's a mic drop. Boop, boop. So I appreciate my brothers. Thank y'all for joining Reset Race. I don't care what you think. I told y'all my mama died. So, you know, I missed her and she left me her pension. So I'm a free Negro. So y'all can really go fuck yourselves.
Listening to Reset Race, you're now tuned in to Reset Race. You're listening to Reset Race, you're now tuned in to Reset Race. What? Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them, put them back on the grill again. We grilling them, put them back on the grill again. We grilling them, back on the grill again. We grilling them, You're listening to Reset Race. ADOS need reparations to make America great. You're tuned in to Reset Race. We no longer starving while others eat off our plate. No. You're listening to Reset Race. We focused on our justice claim. We know what is at stake. You're tuned in to Reset Race. You'll find out who really about justice and really who fake. Lineage go back to US Southern plantations. Lineage, Jim Crow and mass incarceration. Redlining lynchings. We are old from this nation. You're not about justice if you ain't for reparations. MG the wise one, cousin mother intellectual. Samantha bringing fire, anti-black. We pressing you. No permanent friends and no permanent enemies. The backbone of the country to win. You need our energy. You gon' see. Listening to Reset Race. You're now tuned in to Reset Race. You're listening to Reset Race. You're now tuned in to Reset Race. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Back on the grill again. We grilling them. You're listening to Reset Race. ADOS need reparations to make America great. You're tuned in to Reset Race. We no longer starving while others eat off our plate. No. You're listening to Reset Race. We focused on our justice claim. We know what is at stake. You're tuned in to Reset Race. You'll find out who really about justice and really who fake.
Until you do right by me, everything you think about is gonna crumble.
The president, he's got his war. You and me, we don't know what the war is for. Nobody gives us rhyme or reason. And if you have one doubt, they call that treason. Unreal values and fast extortion.
Join us on Patreon at www.patreon.com/Reset Race Network.